Have you been looking for ways to save your hard-earned cash during these difficult times? Then these 16 forgotten old-fashioned frugal tips will definitely help you with that. Keep watching to find out about the most underestimated frugal tips at number 1. Number 16, make your own gifts. In 2021, the average American is said to spend close to $1,000 in gifts per year. However, that amount can easily be nullified by an age-old practice. Instead, following in the footsteps of your grandparents and learning to make your own gifts can be a great way to save that $1,000 a year and get some extra brownie points from the receiver. For example, instead of buying someone a new book on Amazon, you could just create a scrapbook of memories that you've shared together. Number 15, use envelope backs for less. We all get more mail than we'd like to see every week. And unfortunately, a lot of the mail that we receive is either spam or just unwanted bills. However, there is a subtle use for these unwanted letters. A great way to take advantage of old letters is to use the back for lists. For example, you could write your shopping list on the back of some spam mail, so that this way you make the most of paper that you receive for free, all the while keeping you organized and focused. Number 14, stock up on non-perishable goods. What would you do if you saw an amazing sale for canned beans at the grocery store? Would you stock up on the sale or walk away uncaring? Well, your grandparents would most likely stock up on what was cheap. And by taking advantage of stocking up on non-perishable goods while they're on sale, you can save a lot of extra money on groceries and have some wonderful sides for your dinners. Number 13, fix your own clothes. Are you someone that likes to find that you have to replace clothing frequently due to unwanted rips and tears? Then it may be time to take some sewing lessons from Grandma. In a time when resources were scarce, it was common to learn to fix your own clothes whenever they broke. This is invaluable as a skill. It can easily be applied to help you save some extra dollars, as well as make sure that you keep your favorite pair of jeans. Number 12, wash out sandwich bags for reusing. This is probably something you've noticed your grandparents doing frequently, and it's also the best way to make little savings from your already expensive grocery bill. Taking the time to wash out sandwich bags has a twofold benefit. Firstly, it is a much better way for the environment because you're not throwing away plastic, and you're also saving some extra money by making sure it's fully used before throwing it away. Number 11, be careful of expiring dates. Are you becoming someone that throws away food once it gets past the expiration date? Well, you may be surprised to find out that a lot of food doesn't actually go bad when it hits that expiration date. And this is a trick that can save you a lot of money in food wastes. In the days of your grandparents, they would often use their senses to check if food was still good, regardless of the expiration date. And if it smells and tastes good, then chances are it's still good. This can be effective even today. So, the next time you're thinking of throwing away milk, take a second to smell it and see if it's actually still good. Number 10, repurposing old sheets. You've got a lot of old sheets lying around waiting to be thrown out in the garbage. Well, before you do that, you should think about repurposing them. Because in the time of your grandparents, they would make sure to expend their resources to the fullest so as to avoid having to spend unnecessarily. And in the case of old sheets, it was common to cut them up and use them as cleaning towels. Every day, this is a fantastic way to save money by not having to buy paper towels. Number 9, saving up for things you need. In our modern day and age, a simple swipe of a credit card can get you anything you want from practically anywhere in the world. And obviously, this wasn't the case during your grandparents' time, but instead, they made sure to save up cash by buying things they needed. It's important to remember that using your card to buy something isn't actually using money that you have. So learning to save up cash for things that you need will help to ensure that you're living within your means. Number 8, use natural remedies. Natural remedies are a wonderful way to treat ailments that affect all of us. Nowadays, we often buy medicines at the pharmacy to deal with unwanted symptoms. Funny enough is that many of the over-the-counter medications are actually based in natural substances and are also extremely pricey. Instead, a quick visit to your grandparents' house or Google can actually show you a variety of ways to deal with common ailments for much cheaper. For example, a cough can be treated with some warm water and honey or using ginger tea to help treat motion sickness. So, the next time you want to go to the pharmacy to treat an illness, take a second to search up some natural remedies online instead of spending money unnecessarily. Number 7, use free air fresheners. The oldest air freshener known to human is also the cheapest. And while many of us now will reach for a Febreze bottle to freshen our houses, our grandparents used to simply open a window. I mean, sure, Febreze does have a nice scent, But using it even once a week can rack in unnecessary costs from your hard-earned cash. So, focusing on simply opening up a window in your home to freshen up your house is not only effective, but entirely free. Number 6, switch to soap bars. If you're someone that likes to use liquid soap, it may be time for a change. Liquid soap and soap bars both accomplish the same goal, namely to clean your body from oil and germs. However, liquid soap is much more expensive than soap bars whenever it comes to cleaning, and not to mention that it's also very expensive. So, if you're looking for a way to save money wherever you can, this old-fashioned frugal tip will surely go a long way. Number 5, make use of your clothes for extra layers. Let's face it, the feeling of being really cold is uncomfortable, and the easiest way to get over that is just turning up the heat. However, your grandparents thought about this differently. Seeing heat at home was expensive and a difficult venture, it was easier for your grandparents to just simply put on an extra layer of clothing so as to keep themselves warm during the colder months. In our generation, this frugal tip can go a long way in saving extra money on some expensive utility bills. So the next time you feel cold, why not just put a sweater on? Number 4, learn to preserve your food. Preserved food is around us a lot more than we realize for more reasons than one, and it can be anything from alcohol to pickles to even those dried fruits you love. And while preserving may seem like an extremely daunting task, it was actually pretty common in the days of your grandparents. Oh, and did we say that it's an effective way to save dollars? When food was scarcer, it was normal to preserve foods to keep them from lasting as long as possible. For example, you could dehydrate apples that you've had sitting in your fridge for a while, or you can learn to make your own pickles with some cheap cucumbers from the store. That's a vast world of preserving food out there, and it's a surefire way to save you loads of cash in the long run. Number 3, grow your own flowers. If you've ever bought a bouquet of flowers for a loved one, then you know how expensive they can get. However, a quick talk with your grandparents may get you to realize that you can have access to those expensive bouquets for free in your own backyard. For example, many of the most beautiful roses are actually perennials. They flower every year, and it's no secret that they can be some of the most expensive flowers. So, learning to grow your own flowers may not only give you the best custom-made bouquets, but it'll be all for free. Number 2, reduce streaming services. There's clearly no shortage of streaming services that are available today. We're sure that most of you can name at least 2 or 3 of them off the top of your head. However, having so many streaming services can really take a chunk out of your wallet. Streaming services didn't exist at all until sometime after the internet was invented. The equivalent in your grandparents' time would have been subscriptions to magazines. However, it was frugal to only subscribe to what you need. So, if you're looking for ways to cut back on expenses, then go over your streaming services and ask yourself what you really watch. Lastly, number 1, store produce in women's tights. Have you ever wondered how people stored food when fridges weren't readily available? Well, vegetables like butternut squash, garlic, and onions are actually made to survive in certain conditions that any house can provide. And our clever grandparents realized that women's tights were a great way to create these conditions. If someone who tends to lose types of vegetables due to lack of use, then consider implementing this wonderful technique so as to keep them around for many, many months to come.